congressman from Indiana there at the time who also voted against it. He happens to be now the Vice President of the United States. How about the great job being done by our Vice President, Mike Pence? So now we're working with President Trump to put together a new health care plan, not a government-run plan, but one that's going to actually let you make the decisions to lower costs, to protect people with pre-existing conditions. But you know what else while we're talking about health care? While we're talking about health care, Democrats right now are advocating for infanticide. They're the party that's moved so far to the left that they refuse to bring a bill to the floor that mandates care for babies that are born alive. Imagine this. My colleague Ann Wagner from Missouri, how about the great job Ann Wagner is doing to bring the Born Alive bill to the floor? Today, Ann and I were joined by my colleagues in bringing a discharge petition. Because if Nancy Pelosi won't let us bring the bill to the floor on our own, we will go around Nancy Pelosi and get that bill to the floor anyway. So we started collecting signatures to end this barbaric practice. I am proud to announce that nearly all of the Republican conference has signed this petition to make it clear that Republicans will stand up for life. And I want to announce today, we just got the count, we set a record for discharge petitions. Already on day one, more than 190 members of Congress have signed that discharge petition. So we're only 28 votes away from getting that bill brought to the floor after day one. We are going to keep working. But with their new majority, Democrats have made it clear they don't believe in Obamacare, that it goes far enough. They want single-payer health care. They're moving legislation so far in a radical position that they would actually take away your employer-based health care. That's where they want to go with health care, while we want to lower costs. But that's not all. Democrats failed at cap and trade, so you know what they've done now? You know the new darling of the left. Have any of y'all heard of AOC? Wait, that doesn't sound right. Has anybody here heard of AOC? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's the new standard bearer for the Democrat Socialist. She's got this bill called the Green New Deal. Don't worry, in 10 years you won't even have to worry about missing flights because there will be no airplanes. Eat up tonight because there will be no cows. This is how ridiculous their ideas are. That's how radical. And oh, by the way, they tell you about it by flying around on airplanes and eating cows. This is where they've gone as a party. We're not going to let it stand. We are fighting for the future of this country, but it's a future worth fighting for. Thank you all for what you're doing to join with us on regaining the House majority and re-electing Donald Trump in 2020. Thanks for coming. God bless America.
I am a tiger, it's the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of our rival.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, a short break in our program. It will begin again shortly. Please enjoy your dinner. Our program We ask that everyone takes their seat at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chairman of the National Republican Congressional Committee, ladies and gentlemen, Chairman Tom Emmer.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Norm. Good evening, fellow Republicans. Are you ready? I'm sorry, are you ready? Thank you for joining us tonight and for supporting the National Republican Congressional Committee in our mission to take back the majority in 2020. They can get excited. There's nothing wrong with being excited. A very special thank you to the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, for headlining the event tonight. President Trump is an incredible partner. He's led the way to lower taxes, the reduction of excessive and unnecessary regulation, and the best economy in a generation. And much to the disappointment of the Socialist Democrats, he's been fully vindicated by Robert Mueller. No collusion, no obstruction. We are honored to have him at the top of our ticket. I'd also like to thank our spring dinner chair, Darren LaHood, for taking the lead on making tonight a success, as well as Leader McCarthy, Whip Scalise, and the rest of our leadership team. We truly could not do this without you. Next year, voters are going to have a very clear choice in front of them: freedom or socialism. It's that simple. Just 3 months into their new majority, the new Socialist Democrats have shown America where they really stand. Take H.R. 1, their first major piece of legislation. What did Nancy and her caucus decide was their top priority? Jobs, veterans, national security? Not even close. The Socialist Democrats' top priority was funding their own re-election campaigns with $5 million of American taxpayers' hard-earned money. And that's just the beginning. Led by the socialist mob that is their freshman class, House Democrats haven't been shy about letting America know just how radical they are. They proposed the insane Green New Deal, a socialist program to send us back into the dark ages, banning everything from gasoline-powered cars to airplanes to fragrant cows. Fragrant, flatulent, fragrant. To guaranteeing an income, believe it or not, for those who choose not to work. The Green New Deal, or Green Dream, as the Socialist Democrat leader calls it, would make even Karl Marx blush. And we can't forget about their other genius idea, a government takeover of the U.S. healthcare system. The socialists call it Medicare for all. They should be calling it Medicare for none. The Socialist Democrats have become so detached from reality, they actually think it's a good idea to promise to eliminate private and employer-based health insurance. We'll see how that goes over with the voters. And don't even get me started on the clown car that is the 2020 Democrat presidential primary. So our path to the majority is simple. We will provide a clear alternative to the Democrats' socialist agenda. Where the Socialist Democrats dream of a government takeover of the economy, we will show voters record low unemployment. Where the Socialist Democrats dream of a government takeover of health care, we will defend the right of Americans to make their own health care decisions. Where the Socialist Democrats want to restrict free speech, we will defend it. In short, we will protect the constitutional right of freedom for every American. President Trump said it best in his State of the Union. America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free, and we will stay free, and America will never be a socialist country. Thank you very much for your support. Have a great evening. God bless you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome House Minority Leader, ladies and gentlemen, Leader Kevin McCarthy.
Every morning, I wake up with two questions on my mind. What can I do today to win the majority? And what can we do today to help re-elect President Trump? Tonight, you just answered that 23 million times, and we're that much closer. I'm going to make one prediction tonight. My speech is the one speech you're going to remember in all the leadership, because I'm not going to give you one. I'm going to introduce the reason you are here. I'm going to introduce our president, who has defied all odds, who has been a president that's been unusual in a manner because he kept his promise. He said he would rebuild the military, and he has. He said he would get our GDP up to 3%. President Obama said, what does he have, a magic wand? No, he just understands business, and he's made it happen. Individual who said he could go toe-to-toe with China or make Kim stop testing a missile. A president who said he would put conservatives who understood the Constitution on the Supreme Court. And no one else in that job would have stood behind Kavanaugh than President Trump. He said he would put you first, and he has. He is making the next century the American century. No president has done more in their first 2 years than President Donald Trump. Now, I was backstage. I've watched this man behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and he's the exact same way. He is working 24 hours a day. He is focused, and I can't wait to see him compete against whoever they put forward. Whatever socialist on the Democrat side wins that nomination, he is going to win because he understands what needs to happen in this country. So I want you to get on your feet. I want you to understand why we're here. Wow, what a job.
What a job. Thank you, Kevin, very much. Where's Kevin sitting? He's around here someplace. Kevin, thank you. Collect so much money. What did he say, 23 million? That's not bad. I mean, you are the minority, I hate to say. That's not going to last long, I don't think. That's not going to last long. It was just a brief little spell. You wanted to take a little break. You shouldn't have done it, I told you that. Don't worry, they blame me. I say, what the hell did I have to do with it? They said Trump wasn't running, but you know what? We're going to do great. I really believe it. We're going to do great. We're going to take the House back. We are. I feel totally confident about that. We're going to watch those vote tallies. You know, I keep hearing about the election and the various counting measures that they have. There were a lot of close elections that they seemed to, every single one of them went Democrat. If it was close, they say the Democrat, well, there's something going on, fella. You got to be a little bit more paranoid than you are, okay? Look, all these beautiful people, these beautiful Republican congressmen and women. But we have to be a little bit careful because I don't like the way the votes are being tallied. I don't like it, and you don't like it either. You just don't want to say it because you're afraid of the press. You're afraid of the press, but we have to be careful. And I have to tell you, though, that this is my third one of these, and this is really something. It's thrilling to be here tonight with my many great friends and fellow patriots to support incredible Republican members of Congress, and you are incredible. And you've gone through a lot, and you're tougher and stronger than ever. And I'll tell you, I have never been more unified with you than I am right now for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's true. You helped us on the border, which turned out that you're right on that one. That was when it was a little bit less in vogue than it is today. Now everybody's saying, I told you there was an emergency. But you were there right from the beginning. I appreciate it. I really mean, I don't think I've ever been closer to you folks, the people in this room, than I am right now. More so than I was even a year ago. And it was pretty good then, too. But you're fighting every day for our citizens, our safety, our rights, and our God-given freedom. I especially want to thank the rest of this terrific House Republican leadership team, including Republican Whip, the bravest man in this room, a man who played second base in a game where a shot was hit to him. He had zero range. You know, the Yankees had a guy, Bobby Richardson. They say he had the widest range of anybody. He could get a ball anywhere. Go back to shortstop. He was a second baseman. He had the greatest range of everybody. Steve Scalise had the least range of anybody in the history of second base. And I watched that game, and I said, oh, my God, look, a shot was hit to second. It was hit hard, a really hard ground ball. And he got down, he blocked that sucker. He then picked it up and he threw it to first. I said, is this a movie we're watching? The first pitch. And Steve Scalise, and let me tell you, Steve Scalise has courage. I was with him that night and his incredible family, his wife, and he wasn't looking so good. And in a short while, and the doctor said he wasn't looking so good. It wasn't such a great prognosis. And I'll tell you what, he fights better than anybody, and he's my friend, and he's your friend. Steve Scalise. Where's Steve? Where's Steve? Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Steve. Great guy. I'm glad you're on our side, Steve, okay? And thank you very much, and congratulations, and to your family. Amazing what's happened with you. A person who is tough and smart and somebody that fought very hard, loyal. I did something for a man named Scooter Libby, who was not treated fairly in the eyes of many. I've heard this for many years, was not treated fairly. And Liz and her father, and they came out early for me. Actually, her father came out like almost immediately for me, and it was interesting because I didn't know him. I liked him, I respected him, but I didn't know him really. But he came out very early. It was a very important moment, actually, for me, because who the hell was supporting me? Everyone thought I was just playing games, right? They said, he doesn't really mean this, he's just having fun. You call this fun? It's fun. You get phony witch hunts and you get all the others. It's a lot of fun, folks. Have a good time. Have a good time, Donald, as I wave goodbye to Fifth Avenue. Great time. But I am having a great time because we're doing a lot. We're doing more than anyone's ever done in a short period of time. We're doing it together. And I am having a good time because we're producing for people. But Liz Cheney was so dedicated, and the loyalty, and that was just an honor for me to do it because we want to take care of our people that got hurt, our people that got wounded. They got wounded. Just like Steve got wounded. This was a different kind of a wound. And we took care of him, and she was so happy, and her father was so happy because they don't forget. Those are good people. So, Liz, thank you very much. Where is Liz? Where is Liz? Thank you, Liz. I mean that, too. Dedicated. It's called loyal people. We like loyal people. And our NRCC chair, Tom Emmer. Tom, thank you, Tom. Great job. I watched him speaking from back. They have beautiful camera setups, and I looked at my people. I said, this guy's like central casting. You couldn't pick a better guy in Hollywood. There's no actor that could do it better. Really, thank you, Tom. Thank you for the great job, more importantly. And a special thanks to the chair of this evening's dinner, and I've agreed to go to the Caterpillar place where they make those beautiful D10s. I said, are they making the D12 yet? No, they make that in a different location. I said, well, Darren, I want to go there then. I want to see what a D12 looks like. But we're going to Caterpillar. We'll be there soon. And that's a great company. And Darren LaHood does a fantastic job of representing that area. They love him. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be there, Darren. I'll be there. Finally, to all of our wonderful supporters here tonight who pour your time, your energy, your resources, and your heart into defending our great nation. Your commitment has never been more important than it is right now, and we thank you. And we are all together putting America first, something you haven't heard for many, many decades. America first. We're putting America first. That's what we're doing. And you see that in our deal with China. You're going to see that in a lot of different things. They're all coming online right now. You're seeing it in a lot of different ways. It's amazing. You know, we ran on a theme, Make America Great Again. And a lot of people are saying that may have been the greatest theme ever in politics. I think it is. And it wasn't. Ronald Reagan had a small thing called Let's Make America Great. That was good. I don't like it as much. And he sure as hell didn't use it as much. We've sold millions and millions of hats. Now you go to a rally, everybody has the red hat, Make America Great Again. Maybe I can have a little help from you. So we have to make a decision pretty soon because we've done a lot for the country. The stock market's up almost 50%. We've gotten rid of the great regulations Kevin and everybody have told you, and the great tax cuts with the legendary Kevin Brady and his group, and we've done all of these things. Where's Kevin? I was actually going to introduce him later, but I'll introduce him right now. Where's Kevin? Thank you, Kevin. What a job this man's done. What a job he's done. Thank you, Kevin. You really have. But we have to make a decision. Theme for the next campaign. So we've been here by that time, 3.5 years. We're going into the war with some socialist. And it looks like the only non-sort of heavy socialist, he's being taken care of pretty well by the socialists. They got to him. Our former vice president, I was going to call him, I don't know him well. I was going to say, welcome to the world, Joe. You having a good time, Joe? Are you having a good time? But we're going to be running against somebody who's going to go as far left as possible. They're going to go out there. And so we have to come up. Do we say, seriously, let me know, do we say, keep America great? My theme was going to be keep America great, because we've made it great, and we really have. I mean, China is down 38%. Kevin, because of tariffs. Okay, see, look at Kevin. You're not unhappy about that. And we're up 50%. And the world is not doing well. Europe is not doing well. Asia is not doing well, but we're doing well. We're setting records. We should have another record very shortly in the stock market. I think we have 22 records, 22, where the stock market hit new highs. 22, 100% ours. We have everyone, 22. And now we're going to have another one. It looks like it was looking a little bit bleaker 2 or 3 months ago, but that was artificial. It was artificially caused. But it looks like we're going to have some more. We're going to have a lot more. But I have to decide, do we make a change in the theme? So you'll tell me because you'll clap. So we have the greatest theme, I think, really, of all time. Make America Great Again. MAGA. MAGA. MAGA country, right? MAGA country. How about the guy from Chicago? The actor that nobody ever heard of. Nobody ever heard. I said, who the hell is that? He said, he got taken out by MAGA country. I said, what the hell was that? I guess that's a hate crime, right? He got taken out by MAGA country. But we have MAGA, and we do have MAGA country. We have people that are so in love with us. We have the greatest base, I believe, in the history of politics, or I wouldn't be here. With all the things I've done, they never wavered. They never wavered. Can you believe anybody else? They'd be down to 2% right now. And we just had our best. We just had 51 and 54. And they say you can add 10. Because 10% of the people love us, but they're ashamed to say that I'm voting for the president. I don't care. They're ashamed. And I said, am I supposed to like that? I do. We'll take it any way we can get it, right, fellas? Any way we can. Actually, in the one poll, we have some great pollsters, unless they work for CNN. That's fake news. You know, polls can be fake news, too. But we have one poll where the pollster said, anybody that says, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to tell you, I don't want to even discuss it. And they also added another 2 words when they call up and they say these 2 horrible words. Anybody in that category, it's 100% vote for Trump. And what they've done is they don't count that. But now this one counts that. It's 100%. We're going to have a great election. The question is, do I go with Make America Great Again, or do I go with Keep America Great? Because we made it great in theory. So you ready? Let's go. Let me hear it. And it is hard. You know, I was seeing the other day, they were saying it's probably the greatest theme in the history of politics. I think it is. Make America Great Again, MAGA. How do you give that up for a new one? CAG. Keep America Great. CAG. I don't know. Maybe it catches on. You never know. You know, at first with MAGA, I never thought MAGA was going to catch on. And now MAGA, everything's MAGA. I even say just whenever I do a tweet, boy, that has kept us in business, those tweets. It's my only form of defense because the press is 94% against us. 94%. So who likes Make America Great Again? And you people are pros, most of you, not all of you. I see a couple of people I know, they have not done well in this business. In fact, they're sitting outside of those doors trying to get it. Who likes Keep America Great? Okay, so ready? Make America Great Again. or keep America great? I don't know. It's honestly, I love the idea of keep America great, because you know what it says is we've made it great, now we're going to keep it great, because these socialists will destroy it. You know, that we're doing great, but they can destroy what we've done. With the steel industry, look at what's going on with the steel industry in your district also, by the way, along with Caterpillar. They're building steel mills, 38 steel mills all over the land, renovation and a lot of new ones, because we decided to put the tariffs on dumped steel, mostly from China. What it's done is beyond anybody's expectation. It's like one of the hot things. And by the way, this country needs steel. We've got to have steel. You know, there are certain things you don't have to have, like, you know, making the suit. You don't have to have it. You have to have steel. We need it for defense. You have to have aluminum. And it's incredible what happened to those industries. So we will make the determination. And honestly, I get a good vibe on both, to be honest. I love the concept. We made it great, and now we're going to keep it great. But I hate the concept of throwing away the most successful theme, I think, probably in the history of politics. I mean, there's something a little stupid about that, right? Let's take MAGA and throw it out. So I have a feeling we maybe will try and use both. How about that? We'll try and use both, because they're both good. You know. Hillary had a thing like stay together or some crap like that. I think she paid $1.9 million for the genius that gave her the line. I can honestly tell you I didn't pay. That was made up by me. That was made up by me. But they paid a lot of money, and then the first night, remember? We said, it's all about her. And they changed the theme the next morning. So that didn't work out too well. Her theme wasn't too good. It wasn't a success. But after 2 years of Republican leadership, and I have to tell you, we are truly winning again. Our country is winning again, and our country is respected again. And it's, I say, respected like rarely before, and we're hitting a new mark. But I say it's respected like rarely before. And with your help, we're restoring the bonds of loyalty and trust between our citizens and their government. And we're returning power to where it belongs, with the American people. To liberate our citizens from bureaucracy, we've slashed almost 30,000 pages of job-killing regulations from the Federal Register. That's an all-time record, no matter how long a president was in office. Let me see what I look like, huh? Good. I don't see much of a bald spot there. I'm always afraid to look in those cameras. And again, I want to thank, and he is a special man, he's a friend of mine, but and I introduced him a little early, but I'm going to introduce him again, because Kevin Brady and so many of the other fantastic Republicans that passed the largest tax cuts in the history of our country, and they're for the working families. We don't get credit for the working families part, but it's the largest tax cuts, and businesses are flowing back into our country because of those tax cuts and because of regulation cuts. So, Kevin, again, thank you very much. Really an incredible job. Thank you. And to everybody that worked with all of us, you know that, right? We doubled the child tax credit, and we virtually ended the unfair estate tax, also known as the death tax, on small businesses and farms. I tell people when I'm in farm country, I said, you know, now if you have a farm, they used to leave it, and the kids would have to go out and borrow a lot of money because they make an income, but it's hard. The land is sometimes worth more than the income, and they go and borrow money, and they end up losing it to a bank a couple of years later. It's not going to be worried about it any longer. Now they don't have the death tax. They don't have what's known as the estate tax. We got rid of it. Kevin did that with a whole group of very good people, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal. People are very happy. I always say jokingly, so now if you love your children, you can leave your farm or your small business to your children, and they don't have to go borrow money and take a risk. If you don't leave your children, if you don't love them, if you don't just really love them, it doesn't matter, because you're not going to leave it to them anyway. So this tax doesn't mean a damn thing. This tax won't help you much. but most of them leave it to their children, I guess. To bring back American jobs, we slashed the business tax rate down from one of the highest anywhere in the developed world, down to a number that nobody believed that we could get down to. We were at, if you really add it up, we were over 40%. It was an impossible situation. And you know, so many things are in that deal, like bringing back money. Billions and billions of dollars is pouring back into our country that could not get back here. It was impossible, not only because of the high tax rates, nobody would bring it back, over 40%, but also because of the bureaucracy, which we killed in our tax plan. So billions of dollars. Apple recently announced $230 billion is going to be brought back into our country from overseas that they would never have even thought of bringing back. And they're going to spend it building new facilities here. That's a lot, $230 billion. And we're fixing broken trade deals to protect the American workers. And we are standing up to China's chronic trading abuses and theft of intellectual properties and so many other things that they've done to us. I don't know how you people allowed this to happen for so many years. You've been here longer than me. But they really have. They've taken advantage of our country. And you know what? I respect them for it. I say it. We should have been doing that to them. I was in China making a speech. President Xi, who is a strong man, I call him king. He said, but I am not king, I am president. I said, no, you're president for life, and therefore you're king. He said, huh, he liked that. So I call him king. I get along with him great, but I was really hitting him hard about how they've hurt our country. And I had 5,000 Chinese people there. I'm in China, I'm in Beijing doing this, can you believe it? And I'm looking down, he's getting angrier and angrier. And then I saved it. I said, you know, I don't blame you. I blame the leaders of our country for allowing it to happen. And it's really true. We should never have allowed that to happen. And we're getting a lot of it back. You're going to see it. And your farmers, all of you representing farm territory, you know, I was with the vice premier about 2 weeks ago. And I said, you got to do me a favor, goodwill, because we have such a strong country right now, economically, stronger than anybody by far. You know, they were catching us. They would have caught us within a short period of time. They were catching us. Within 2 years, by the end of my term, if you had a normal president, I don't want to say that negatively, I think I'm very normal, but if you had a normal, you know what I mean. In other words, if you had a stiff as president, which most of them are, I hate to say, they would have caught us. But right now, it's going to be a long time before they catch us. A long time. I told you, they're down 38%, we're up 50%. That made a lot of difference. That's like day and night. But we really have to be strong with these nations because these nations are taking advantage, not just China. Everybody has a trade surplus on us. Almost every nation in the world. When I took over, we lost 8. I said, how are we doing on trade? I want a breakdown. My first meeting. They said, sir, we're down $807 billion. I said, you got to be kidding. No, seriously. I thought they were joking, right? We were down 807. We're losing over $800 billion in trade. We're starting to turn it. We have the USMCA. I hope you guys can get it approved. I mean, the problem we have is that you have a very hostile group. You have a very, very hostile group on the other side. And they don't want to see us have success. And the USMCA is a great deal. It's great. Again, I said, if you don't do this, we're going to tariff every product coming out of your country at 25%. And every time I had a problem, I would just take, you know, especially cars. I had a little plastic car on my desk. And I'd have the leaders come over, and I'd just take the car out, put it on the front of the desk. They say, okay, we agree. Because the big thing is the cars. Canada's sending us tremendous numbers of cars. They're practically untaxed. And yet they don't take our agricultural product in many cases, and in many cases they charge 297% tariffs. And it's very unfair. Canada is very, very tough. You know, we love Canada. We think of the beautiful song and the ice hockey games. Oh, Canada, isn't it beautiful? But in the meantime, they knock the hell out of us on trade, and they have been doing it for a long time. and they're very tough, and they're not at all nice about that situation. But we've made them nice. We've made them nice. And they're not happy about what happened. But our farmers are going to be able to sell now into Canada, which they were restricted from doing. And they're going to be able to sell into a lot of places. And the vice premier said, when I said, give us a token of affection, he said, we will immediately buy 10 million tons of soybeans. And I looked at Sonny Perdue, who's doing a fantastic job, as you know, Secretary of Agriculture. I said, Sonny, is 10 million tons of soybeans a lot? It sounds, he said, that's a lot. And they started buying 10 million. So the farmers are so incredible. And I saw them interviewed last week. They had a couple of farmers on. We love the farmers. I'll tell you, I'm never going to forget the farmers. They sort of got me here when you think. And they said, well, you know, because China and various of these countries that we're rightfully doing numbers on, because we have no choice what they've done to us. But they're going to start buying at numbers that you've never seen before. But farmers said, we know how badly China has taken advantage of this country. And we may be getting a little bit hurt right now, but we're with the president all the way. They have every single farmer, every person I've seen, they have these focus groups. Every farmer has said the same thing. And you know the amazing thing about farmers? We had a little bit of a soft patch. And I called in a group of 15 or 20 representative farmers. And I wanted to give them help. I wanted to give them aid. And they looked at me and said, we don't want aid. We don't want it. And I said, what do you mean? Because I'm so used to having people come in wanting help, wanting aid, wanting whatever it is they want. And these people didn't want it. They just wanted me to make a fair platform. And I said, I'll never forget this meeting. I will never forget it. Because again, I meet with a lot of different groups. And they're always asking for an advantage. Okay, I'm not blaming anybody. These farmers didn't want, they said, we don't want that, sir. We don't want any help. We just want really a level playing field. I thought it was incredible. I've told that story so many times. So we love our farmers. Let them know we're very close because you are going to have. In fact, when I asked China, and I'm doing that, that'll be the end of the negotiation. If we get there, and you know, let's see what happens. Who knows? I think we're doing very well. They need the deal more than we do. You see what's going on. They need the deal. And they're getting hurt badly with the, you know, they're paying 25% on $50 billion worth of technology stuff. And they were going to pay 25% on another $200 billion. But I started them at 10 because I'm nice. And then we were dealing well. This was 3-4 weeks ago, you remember. And they said, would it be possible for you not to raise the 10% to 25%, which had automatically kicked in? I said yes, because, you know, it's a little hard when negotiating with them when we start raising it. But after that, they have $340 billion left that I haven't even taxed, and their bullets are gone. Because we do $600 billion worth of purchases from them, and they do $97 billion worth of purchases from us. Not exactly great. But now they were paying for that, and they were paying big. One thing as an example, on cars, if they sold a car to us, we bring it in for no tax. It's 2.5%, but basically when you do certain paperwork and check the wrong boxes, you pay nothing. Stupid. When we buy a car from them, and we buy a lot of them, believe it or not, it's a 40% tax. So they get 40%, we get nothing. Other than that, it's been a very good deal. I get a call 2 months ago, toward the beginning of the negotiation, that they're bringing the 40 down to 15. I said, that's good, but it's still not zero. It's still not what we have. You know, it's good. I'm not thrilled. I got a call from, but it's coming down. It's all coming down. I got a call from Prime Minister Modi of India. They're one of the highest taxing nations in the world. They tax us 100%. Look, he's nodding. You know what I'm talking about. They charge us 100% tariffs on goods. So they send a motorcycle, and they make a lot of them, Indian Cycle. They send them to our country. We charge them nothing. We send a Harley Davidson to India, and they charge us 100%. Not fair, okay? Not reciprocal. It's not fair. And for those of you like Sean and like, where's Sean? Where the hell is my guy from Wisconsin? He's so great. Where is he? This guy's a champion. Him and where's Jim? 128. 128 and 1. Where the hell is Jim Jordan? Where is he? Is he here? 128. Where is he? This guy, NCAA. What a lousy location. Holy, are you kidding me? Wait, stand up again. I can't see you. It's too far away. I can't believe it. Wow, Jim, I've just lost all respect for Jim. That's 128 and 1 in wrestling, NCAA wrestling champion. And you know, when you're that good, don't kid yourself, folks. A lot of it's up here, not just here. A lot of it's right up here. And he's a warrior, and Sean's a warrior. And Sean now is working on the Reciprocal Trade Act. If they charge us, we charge them. Very simple. They charge us, we charge them. And I think you're doing great on it, Sean, and I appreciate it, man. Great job. But he's the tree climbing, you know, these characters that go up the trees, then they come down. He said, no, going up isn't the hard part, it's coming down. Because if you miss, you're dead. And he said he's missed about 4 times, but he's the 5-time world champion going up a tree. Did anybody know that? See, to me, that means something, because being a champion is something, and that's one that is tough stuff and dangerous stuff. So, listen, I appreciate your help, Sean. It's incredible. That's incredible. I'm still more impressed with the championship stuff, but that's up. So we've ended the war on American energy. The United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world, and that all happened over the last 2 years. Big difference. Hillary wanted to put up wind. If you have a windmill anywhere near your house, congratulations. Your house just went down 75% in value. And they say the noise causes cancer. You tell me that one, okay? You know, the thing makes it so... And of course, it's like a graveyard for birds. If you love birds, you'd never want to walk under a windmill because it's a very sad, sad sight. It's like a cemetery. We put a little statue for the poor birds. It's true. You know, in California, if you shoot a bald eagle, they put you in jail for 5 years. And yet the windmills wipe them all out. It's true. They wipe them out. It's terrible. And I told the other day at CPAC, great people at CPAC, we had an incredible thing. I had nothing to do. It was early on a Saturday morning. I had just gotten back from dealing with Kim Jong-un. We had a walk. He wasn't ready for a deal. That's okay, because we get along great. He wasn't ready. I told him, you're not ready for a deal. That's the first time anybody has ever told him that and left. Never happened to him before. Nobody's ever left. But I said, you're not ready for a deal, but we'll make a deal. We have a good relationship. We have a good relationship. But I told a story about at CPAC, the woman, she wants to watch television. And she says to her husband, is the wind blowing? I'd love to watch a show tonight, darling. The wind hasn't blown for 3 days. I can't watch television, darling. Darling, please tell the wind to blow. No, wind's not so good. And you know, you have no idea how expensive it is to make those things. They're all made in China and Germany, by the way, just in case you... We don't make them here, essentially. We don't make them here. And by the way, the carbon and all of the things flying up in the air, you know the carbon footprint? President Obama used to talk about the carbon footprint, and then he'd hop on Air Force One, a big 747 with very old engines, and he'd fly to Hawaii to play around the Gulf. You tell me, the carbon footprint. But that's the way it is. We have the greatest energy in the world. They wanted to take it away from us. They don't like that we have it. We've really discovered it over the last very short period of time. I've made it readily accessible. we're approving pipelines in Texas that would have taken 20 years. I'm getting them done in about 6 months. You guys all know that, the Texas guy. And by the way, if they're not good, if there's something wrong, if it's going to hurt our water, if it's going to hurt our air, we're not going to approve them. But you're going to know in 12 months instead of in 20 years. At the end of 20 years, you start off as a young man or woman, and now you're getting ready to retire, and they're getting ready to vote on your project, right? Whatever the hell it may be. You know, highways. Elaine Chow's doing a great job, by the way, our secretary. Great job. But highways, in many cases, would take 20 or 21 years to get approved. Think of it. In some cases, not even a highway, it's like a roadway. And I have it down now to 2 years. We got rid of so much of the waste and the stupidity. And you know, a lot of this happened because of consultants, environmental engineers, they call themselves. I've hired many of them. I've lost plenty of money with those guys. And I used to see them up in Albany. I'd say, how come you're here? Why are you here? You represent me. Why are you here? They're trying to get a bill passed that makes it harder to get permits, and my guy is there trying to get the bill because I have to pay him more money that way, my consultant. So we took down highways from, in many cases, 20 years till probably, we want to get it down to 1 year and then maybe get rejected. But you'll get it rejected quickly. You're going to know. It's like Jack Nicklaus is a friend of mine. He said, standing over a 4-foot putt, he never missed him. But he told me, Chichi Rodriguez, great putter, he'd get up, he was a character, and he'd just putt, get up, bing, get up, bing. Wouldn't take any time, get up, bing, he had an expression, miss it quick. You ever hear that expression? He was a character, miss it quick. I get up, miss it quick, but he didn't miss too many. But that's what we're doing. We're gonna make sure that you get it, and if it doesn't work, we're going to let you know. There was a highway, small highway, in a state where some friends are in this room. It is 21 years. It was going to cost $5 million 21 years ago. Now it's going to cost $900 million, and it took 21 years to get it approved. And it used to be a straight line, right? So if somebody's a little tipsy, they had too many drinks, which is a bad thing, at least they could drive straight. Now, in order to get away from nesting turtles, rattlesnakes, and everything else, that highway is the craziest looking sucker you've ever seen. It's twice as long as it was supposed to be. My father and I would have designed it straight path, point to point, right? But it cost, you know, I mean, literally almost hundreds of times more than it was supposed to cost. And it's dangerous. People are running into the curb. They don't know how, but they're running into things that they're not supposed to. So we're straightening things out. There are many, many stories like that. The great aircraft carrier, the Gerald Ford, I go to see it. And the catapult system, you know, the catapult, that's where it throws the planes off. So the aircraft carrier is a slight problem. It was supposed to cost $3 billion. It ended up costing about $16 billion right now. It wasn't on my watch, but it's getting close. The President, Gerald Ford, big, the largest ship ever built, they say. It's a massive ship. So I get on there, but they're having trouble with the catapult system because it used to be steam. You've seen it, where the planes go off. Steam, old-fashioned, right? Old-fashioned. So they've decided to go magnetic. Never been done before. And electronic. So it's very, very complex. They have these brilliant guys from MIT, where my uncle was a professor, by the way, for 40 years, brilliant guy, Dr. John Trump. A lot of people find it hard to believe that I had a professor, one of the smartest people in the history of MIT, in my blood. You'd be surprised. A lot of things are surprising in life. But you have to go to MIT to figure out how this damn thing works. So I get to the boat. How's it go? Well, it's okay, sir, but we have a little problem with the catapult system. You know, that's not, like, so good. When we have an aircraft carrier, you can't send planes off the damn thing. Historically, that has not proven to be a good thing for aircraft carriers. So I said, let me see. I didn't want to see the admirals. You get tired of the admirals, because this was a problem. I said, let me see the catapult people. They said, sir, you don't really want to do that. I said, yeah, those are the people that know what the hell they're doing. This thing is $900 million over budget to throw the planes off, and we could have had steam, and it would have been done. And we would have saved hundreds of millions of dollars. So I get the catapult guys, 5 guys come over. Yes, sir. What do you do? Sir, I've been a catapulter. By the way, he's more proud of being a catapulter than Kevin McCarthy, Kevin Brady, and all of you big, high-ranking Republicans are doing what the hell. They would be so bored doing what you're doing, dealing with Democrats all day. That's not fun. But I said, so what do you do? He said, I'm a catapulter. 20 years. Yes, sir. What would you like to know, sir? Very simple question. What's better, an electric catapult or steam? Sir, steam is better. I said, it's better. I said, why is it better? Well, for one thing, the electric goes faster, sir, but it takes you 2.5 minutes to bring the plane to the site. No matter what you do, it's still the same 2.5. So we don't have to send the plane off every second. By the time the steam builds up, we have plenty of time left. That's number one, sir. I can give you 10 other reasons, but another one, sir. If the steam breaks, I can fix it myself with a wrench. If the electronics breaks, sir, we have to send for Albert Einstein to try and fix it. We can't figure this damn thing out. I never saw. This is what happens. This is what happens. This is what happens, I hate to say it, when they make airplanes so damn complex that pilots can't fly them. This is what happens. Now, up to a point you want to go, but we have to be careful. We're spending money on things, and it's almost like they do it just to do it. And we want to be careful. We want to be smart. So we're getting that problem fixed, but it's a hell of a problem. We've confirmed 53 district court judges and 37 circuit court judges who are going to interpret the Constitution as written. Anybody not like that here? Not too many people in this room. I can tell you a lot of people in another room across the way. Along with 2 outstanding Supreme Court judges, Justice Neil Gorsuch and, as you know, Brett Kavanaugh, who was put through a grinder like nobody has ever been put through a grinder. That was so unfair. That was so unfair. And Congress passed, and I'm very proud of this. Where's Greg? Greg Wald. Greg, where are you? We worked hard on this. Greg! Greg! Right? You know what I'm going to say, Greg, because this is a great thing, and I hope nobody in this room has to do it, but, you know, right to choose, right? Right? We have a right. And we did something else with Greg and with everybody. We passed choice for our military. Choice. So we have in one case, choice. We have another, right to try. And I don't know if the people know what even right to try. I kept saying to myself, as I was a civilian, you don't want to use it. You don't want to use it. But I've had friends over the years, they're very ill, terminally ill. And if they have money, they travel all over the world looking for a cure. If they don't have money, they go home, and there's nothing they can do. And right to try, which Greg and everybody was so incredible with, and we got it done, right? That wasn't easy. You'd think it was easy. But, you know, the country had a problem because they didn't want to be sued if it doesn't work. The insurance companies had a problem. The drug companies had a problem because they didn't want it on their record. So we said, well, I'll tell you what, we won't put these people that are so terminally ill, so sick, we won't put them on the record. They said, we like that. We have a separate category. We like that. And then the insurance companies had a tremendous problem, but the country did too. So I said, here's what we do. They have to sign a document that exculpates, that gets rid of all liability to our country because, you know, they don't make it and then they sue our country. And I could never understand why they didn't get this passed because the law was we don't want to hurt people. So we don't want to give them a cure. We don't want to hurt people. And I'll tell you what, and for all of the people in this room and every one of you who's here, you can feel proud because we have had such success. We have saved lives already, and this is only 7 months ago that we signed it. We've saved lives already with people going, and what it does is it really does. I mean, it's the ultimate test for a drug or for a possible cure. What's better than this? It's been a tremendous success, so we got it done. It's something nobody talks about, but it's something that a lot of people respect. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. So thank you, Greg. That was a great job on that. And we passed VA accountability. So not only VA choice, they're standing in line for weeks and weeks in many cases. Weeks and weeks, think of it. And now, these are our great veterans. They stand online, and now they go, they see a doctor, we pay for it. It doesn't matter. Number one, we do save money. It doesn't matter. We're saving lives. People are ill. By the time they get to the doctor, they're terminally ill, and we're saving lives. But we also have done so many other things for our veterans, and if you notice, there's not a lot of complaints coming out of the VA. For the first time, how long has it been since you've seen a VA that's really been well run? They're doing a phenomenal job. But accountability is great, where if they treat our veterans badly, we have now accountability. We say, get the hell out of here, you're fired. We fire them. You couldn't fire them. They could steal. They could be sadists. They were sadists. They were hurting our veterans. We couldn't do anything about it. And we also passed just now, some of you in the room were there with me a little while ago, criminal justice reform. And I'll tell you, a lot of people are very happy about that. A lot of people. And thanks to our bold agenda we enacted with House Republicans, America now has the hottest economy anywhere in the world. We're the hottest in the world. Wherever I meet a president, a prime minister, anybody, they say, congratulations on your economy. And since our election, we've created more than 5.3 million new jobs, including 500,000 jobs, and that number's going up to about 618,000 jobs very soon. These are manufacturing jobs that President Obama said will never happen. You'd need a magic wand. It's not going to happen. Well, it's happening. We have the magic wand. And more than 5 million Americans have been lifted off of food stamps because we have jobs now. Think of that. The numbers are staggering. 5 million off of food stamps. And after years of stagnation, wages are rising fast, and the lowest paid workers are making the biggest gains. This is something that you have to sell. The lowest paid people are actually doing the best. You don't hear that. You hear wealthy people. The lowest paid people are doing the best. More people are working now than at any time in the history of our country. 160 million almost 160 million. And unemployment has reached the lowest rate in 51 years. Think of that one. I mean, when you're on a stage debating, you know, when I did this the first time, I'm debating. I never debated like professionally before. My life is a debate. Your life is a debate. But I'm debating all of these people that I never saw before. And we never left center stage. But I had to say we were going to do things, but we hadn't done them. Now it's going to be so much easier because now I can say, we did all these things that I said, and we did more. A commentator who's a Trump hater said recently, whether you like him or not, he has actually done more things than he promised. It's true. We've done more things than we promised. Many more things. Like this one. African American unemployment, Hispanic American unemployment, Asian American unemployment, and you know this because you've heard me say it and other people say it, and veteran unemployment, that's a great one, have all reached the lowest rates ever recorded in the history of our country. I mean, how do you beat that? When they talk about African American and what they want to do, I say, well, I have not much to say except that we've just hit the absolute lowest unemployment rate for African Americans in the history of our country. That's all I have to say. Goodbye, everybody. We won the debate, right? We won the debate. It should be easy. It'll be interesting to see. But don't underestimate the power of socialism to get a vote. It's what happens over a 10-year period when the country is destroyed. But they don't care about that. When they say we're going to give you free education, we're going to give you free health care, we're going to not have you pay your loans for college, we're going to give you free everything. Everything is free. It's very seductive to people. It's not going to be so easy like you think. Now, in 10 years, it's going to be easy when the country goes to hell, because that's what happens. The country goes to hell. Happened many times. Look at Venezuela. I mean, this was the richest country in that whole, outside of us, it was one of the richest countries in the world. And now they have no food, they have no electric, they have nothing. It's sad. And that's socialism. But when you're standing up on a stage and a guy said, we're going to wipe out all costs for education, we're going to wipe out all health care, we're going to give you single payer. They don't say that you're going to wipe out 180 private plans that people love. But it's not as easy as people think. People think it's easy. It is easy in 10 years. It's not easy now. Because a lot of folks are going to say, hey, wait a minute, man, if I vote for Trump, I agree the economy's good, but this guy's giving me everything. Not that easy. So we have to work. We can never take it for granted. We have to explain how bad it really is. We have to do that. But this is a time of extraordinary opportunity for our nation, extraordinary. That's why in my State of the Union address, I asked new Democrat majority in the House to work with us to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, and I think we're going to have something, maybe we can do a bipartisan there, bring down the cost of health care and bring down the cost of prescription drugs. Bring down the cost. Thank you. I love that you're clapping for that, because we have to talk quickly about health care. To have this power in this room, how often do you get that? And we are going to finally secure our nation's borders. It's happening right now. And I said to Mexico last week, you know, they have the strongest immigration laws in the world. They don't have judges. Somebody gets on their land, they say, get out of here now. Somebody touches our land, we bring them into court. You need Perry Mason to represent them. They're here for years. They never come back for the trial. They say, let's bring them into court. We'll bring them in. Well, you just stepped on our property. Bring them in. Be gentle. Bring them into court. And it's called catch and release. It may be the dumbest program in the history of the world. You catch them and you release them. Oh, they're wonderful. We've done a great job. And then you're going to come back, sir, in 4 years from now, January 14th. You're going to come back and we're going to give you a trial to see whether or not you can stay. But in the meantime, we're releasing you into our country. Now, only 2% come back for the trial, okay? And those are not the smartest ones, to be honest with you. The ones that come back are not the smartest ones. The 98% are much smarter than the 2% that come back. It's terrible. But I said to Mexico, listen, you have the strongest immigration. They don't have courts. They don't have catch and release. They don't have chain migration. They don't have visa lottery, a lottery. You pick a lottery, oh, you're going to the United States. Congratulations, the country does this. Do you think they put their best people in those lotteries? What the hell were you people thinking when you approved these deals? They say, in all fairness, it is purely, that's a Chuck Schumer deal. That was when they had enough muscle. They got this stuff passed. It's incredible. Think of it. They put names in. You pick a name. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to announce so-and-so. I don't want to use names because I'll get in trouble, because it's always somebody's going to leak this whole damn speech to the media, to the fake news. So I won't use the name that I'm thinking about. Congratulations. And then you find out he's a stone-cold killer. Served many years in jail. These are the people that give us. What do you think? Do you think they're going to give us their finest? They don't give us. And we take them in. Congratulations. Crazy CNN, they had a reporter. They're walking up. I mean, how bad? I mean, how bad? Now they're saying, we were never against him with respect to collusion. We were just reporting the news. You see that? That's their new theory, you know, that they weren't, in other words, that they were fair. Yeah, they were fair. But they're interviewing this group of people. And what are you coming to the United States for? A woman says, well, I'm coming for my daughter. Okay, that's very, what are you coming? Then they go to this man, a little rough looking. And what are you coming for? Asylum. Oh, why? I murdered someone. Oh. The woman goes like, what? You murdered? Anybody see that? I murdered someone, he said. Right? You saw it. And she's like, oh, man. Okay, back to headquarters, please. You know, because they're trying to say how good everybody is. These are wonderful people. And some of them are wonderful people. Remember when I made my first speech in Trump Tower, coming down the escalator with our great First Lady that everybody loves? Everybody loves our First Lady. And I talked about different things. And I mentioned the word rape. And everybody thought it was a great speech. And then about 2 days later, it was like sort of a delayed reaction. 2 days later, they said, he said rape. He said all sorts of, let me tell you, and I took heat. Do you remember the first 6 months? Man, were they killing me in that speech. It went from being a great speech to being a disaster. And now you look at that speech and you see what's happening. And that speech was so tame compared to what really is happening. That trek up from Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador, it's one of the great dangerous treks anywhere. And Mexico has now, because they don't want the border closed, because Mexico makes a hell of a lot of money off us. They took 30% of our car business. I wasn't here. The new USMCA will stop that. No more car companies are going to Mexico when they sign this deal. No more car companies. That was the most important thing for me. So now, Mexico, I said I'm closing, and I really wanted to close it. But now Mexico is saying, no, 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 first time in decades. We will not let anybody get through. And they've apprehended over 1,000 people today at the southern border, their southern border. And they're bringing them back into their country. I said, why the hell didn't somebody do that in the first place? But they don't want the border closed. And you know who else doesn't want the border closed? The Democrats. They don't want the border closed. And I agree, it's going to be a big toll. But trade and commerce and making money for our country, it's all very important. But to me, the most important job I have is the security of our country, even more important than those other things that I talk about a lot. It's the security of our country. Instead of choosing greatness for America, House Democrats responded with radicalism, resistance. Resist, that's their theme. Make America great again is ours. Theirs is resist. You don't know what the hell they're resisting. They go around saying resist, and they do resist. Revenge, crazy hoaxes like we just went through, and ridiculous conspiracy theories. We have just incredible when you see what is coming out. And while Republicans are working every day to empower the American people, the Democratic agenda is all about themselves. That's all they think about is themselves, okay? It's a disgrace what's going on. It's a disgrace. I said to somebody that's been here a long time, you people would know better than anybody, some of you that have been here, has it ever been this bad? And they said, well, they said, yes, it was. They said during the Clinton impeachment hearings, it was worse. They said there was another time in the 1880s when it was worse. A couple of people were shot, you know. Even you people wouldn't do that. And the Civil War, who could forget? I would say the Civil War was bad. And by the way, speaking of Civil War, where is Doug Collins? You're another warrior. Where's Doug Collins? Where the hell is Doug? Man, he's up there fighting. Doug, thank you, Doug. Warrior. Where's Mark Meadows? Another warrior. Where's Mark Meadows? Where the hell is... Oh, don't tell me he's got one of those bad seats. Are you with Jim Jordan? That's the Freedom Caucus. What the hell happened to you guys? They're great guys, they are. Everybody in this room, as far as I'm concerned. Nearly 100 House Democrats are promoting the biggest socialist takeover in U.S. history. That's what's happening. The Green New Deal, it'll cost $100 trillion. Nobody has any idea what that means, $100 trillion. I have wealthy friends, they say, write out $1 trillion. They have no idea. They just keep growing. Nobody has any idea. The Democrats are also proposing a massive government takeover of health care that would ban private health insurance. And that's a tremendous thing for us to run on because people want, we have 180 million people that want that. The Democratic plan would destroy American health care, bankrupt our country, oh, forget it, not even close, and take away your private doctors. Now, I'm only afraid that we're going to be too hard on the Green New Deal, and they're not going to do it because I want them to do it. We don't want to have them knock it out before we get to run against it. So let's take it easy. I'm actually saying it's a wonderful thing. The Green New Deal, done by a young bartender, 29 years old. A young bartender, wonderful young woman. The Green New Deal. You know, but it's crazy. You know, the first time I heard it, I said, that's the craziest thing. You have senators that are professionals, that you guys know, that have been there for a long time, white hair, everything perfect, and they're standing behind her and they're shaking, they're petrified of her. We support the Green New Deal. How about the woman from Hawaii, the senator from Hawaii? Highly nice woman, right? Oh, I'm glad I didn't say it. I'm going to get great points from my wife for not saying that. But she was so angry to men, right? Remember, she was screaming at men. And then they asked her about the Green New Deal. I love it. They said, yeah, but you don't allow airplanes anymore, so you can't get to Hawaii. Oh, we have to work on something. So somebody jokingly said, we'll build a train to Hawaii, and she actually thought it was a decent idea. So now she supports it because she thinks they're going to build a train to Hawaii. But they really believe this stuff. And you know, it's like, it's the craziest thing. They believe it. And we will have to do something. But don't do it too early, please. Don't kill it. Because we want to be able to run against it. If they beat me with the Green New Deal, I deserve to lose. So. And just to finish up, and this is so important, and you know, I'm doing this almost as let's get together and talk because we have to win. We have to take back the House. We have to. There's no reason to have lost it. And what really lost it and really helped us lose it was health care. Because we didn't have an alternative. We just said, well, let's not talk. Somebody came out the other day, they asked a Republican 2 weeks ago, health care, and he turned off the mic. Well, I'm going home now. You can't do that. You got to confront it. We'll be the party of health care. Republicans should not run away from health care. You can't do it. You're going to get clobbered. And I have an idea, and I think it's great. I spoke with Kevin about it. I spoke with a lot of your really top people, smart people, and they love it. I spoke with the Senate about it. I spoke to Mitch about it. Mitch didn't like it, but then he found out when we're taking the vote, right after the election. He said, oh, I like that idea. And I understood why he didn't like it at the beginning, because it's been a tough subject. It's been a subject, stay away. If we stay away from that subject, we're going to lose. We're going to lose. We can't stay away. It's too important. It's too important. Because the Democrats, you know what? We have the border. We have, if you look at it, we have the immigration, but we have a lot. We have the crime. We have the police. We have the military. We have so much. They have health care right now. We have to take that away from it. We take that away. We take that away. We will not even come close. So here's the concept. We have to protect and cannot run away from a thing called pre-existing conditions. We can't do it. You're going to get clobbered. A friend of mine is running in a certain state. I'm not going to embarrass him. He's got a 20-point lead. He's running for governor. 20-point lead, it's over. About a month later, I say, hey, the election hadn't taken place. I said, how is it going out there? How's he doing? Sir, he's 20 points down. Wait a minute. He was 20 points up. What are you talking about? No, sir. Right now, he's 20 points down. He's getting killed. I said, why? because he wanted to terminate pre-existing conditions. Well, that was a poll. This is a guy, he ended up getting clobbered. He had an easy race. He was already buying the carpet for the mansion. Not our mansion, a different mansion. And guess that didn't work out too well. And I'll never forget 5 governors sitting in front of me. I was making a speech, very conservative governors. And I said, because I hadn't really taken a position, but I think we have to go with the pre-existing. And I'm making a speech, and we will support, and the Republicans cherish pre-existing conditions. And these 5 Southern guys down there, they're looking at it, what the hell was that all about? And I told them, I said, we have to support it. We should support it. We're doing the right thing. And if you don't support it, you have no chance of winning. I mean, I just want to be blunt. You have no chance of winning. The Democrat plan will be devastating to the people with pre-existing conditions. We have great talking points. The Republican Party will be the champion of pre-existing conditions. You have to do it. Some of you like it, some of you don't, but you're going to have to like it. Not only for politics, it's the right thing. We want to be the party of great health care. I am right now working with people, and here's the key to all of it. I'm right now working with people in this room, knowledgeable leaders in Congress, and with experts in the administration. I have a couple of people, one in particular, who is a total health care genius. This person knows more about health care and loves the subject, loves it. To come up with a great health care plan that is far less costly to the people, not to the government, to the people, far less costly than Obamacare, with deductibles that are far lower. The deductibles are so high that nobody gets to use it unless you're in serious condition, so serious that, frankly, the last thing on your mind is health care. I will be asking that this be my first vote. Immediately after the election, we are going to regain the House because of health care and other things. The border, the military, the police. They're for open borders and crime. We're for great borders and merit-based immigration. Merit-based, so they can help our country and help our companies that are all moving into our country and need people to work. We're going to keep the Senate, and we're going to keep the presidency, and we're going to bring back the House. So essentially what I'm saying is we're going to come up with a health care plan. We're not going to vote on it until after the election. We'll all promise it's going to be our first vote, because we blew it the last time. Man, I was fed a bill of goods. I want to tell you, some of you I'm still a little bit angry, but not all of you. Wasn't even your fault. But we should have done it when we had the position. But we're going to get it back. And it's going to be a better plan. So we're going to give a great health care plan. And we're going to go and campaign on that plan with the understanding that if we win, it's going to be much less expensive than Obamacare and much more usable in terms of deductibles. And what's going to happen is we're going to promise the people that if you vote for us and if you vote for you, all of you running, that we're going to vote for this, it's going to happen, but we have to get back the House. You know what? You're going to win back the House. I think it's going to be one of the strongest things you have. Because people don't like Obamacare. We forgot about it. We had a very, very unfortunate vote by somebody. We were close. We were so close. One vote away. One vote away. But it didn't work. But this is going to be something, I think, that has even more potential. It's going to be a better plan. I already know what they're doing with it. And we're going to use it. We're going to campaign on that plan. And it's so much better than Obamacare. Now, here's your alternative. Turn off whatever they talk about health care. I don't want to talk about it. Oh, it's a bad, because, you know, I know it's a tough subject. But we have a great advantage here. And we vote right after the election. It's going to get a lot of people elected, and you're going to be doing the right thing. Additionally, we'll be knocking the Democrats' socialistic single-payer health care plan with all of the disastrous flaws, including all of those great Americans that are going to lose their plan. Remember, you can have your doctor, you can have your plan. I mean, so many lies, so many lies. So you're going to be campaigning against very negative things. You're going to win your elections because of health care. And a lot of people were upset with me because I announced this like a week ago, and I didn't want to waste my time by calling people. I didn't want to call the leaders other than Kevin. I'd be afraid not to call Kevin. But I didn't call people. They said, well, I don't know anything about it. I blame myself a little bit. But now they love it. They really like it. You're going to get elected because of it, and you're going to be doing the right thing. It's a great incentive for the voters to vote for you. So instead of when they ask you a health care question, say, I'd rather not answer that question. Well, what about pre-existing? Alice, take me home, Alice. They're asking me about pre-existing. Alice, please take me home. And then you get clobbered. You got a plan that's a much better plan. And it's going to be your first vote when you get back to Washington. The radical Democrats are also aggressively pushing extreme late-term abortion, allowing children to be ripped from their mother's womb right up until the moment of birth, right? Who ever heard of this stuff? I had it in the debate. I never used the term ripped. It was my term. And people that had been working on this on our side for years said, it was an incredible moment. I didn't use that term. I never heard of that term. I thought of it during the debate because Hillary Clinton was so staunch on abortion and rights abortion. And I said, according to Hillary, in the 9th month, you can rip. That's where it came up. Does anybody remember that debate? They say that was like a big moment. You can rip the baby out of the womb and kill the baby. But now it's gotten worse because this maniac, the governor from Virginia, he comes up and says, now the baby is born. And you wrap the baby gently. And then you talk to the mother. And depending on what the mother says, you execute the baby. Can you imagine? Who ever heard of it? I never even heard of this one. I've heard of 9th month, which is horrible. I've heard of 5th month and 4th month. This is the baby is now born, and the mother will make a decision as to whether or not that baby will be essentially executed. And he said that. He said that. And he said some other things that were unrelated to that, which were bad, and believe it or not, which were covered even more so than that, which I couldn't believe that it was. His other thing, you know what that was covered more importantly in the media than that. And what can be more important than that? That's why I've called on Congress to pass legislation banning the late-term abortion of children who can feel the pain in their mother's womb. And you know, it's always been a very close issue. It's been for many, many years. It's been a 50-50 issue. I don't know if you saw, it was so horrible and so extreme what the Democrats in New York, you saw what was happening. They're all applauding. It was so horrible that you gained 11 points in the poll. This is the first time. It's no longer, it was a 49-51 issue for for decades. It never really changed. It would go from 51 to 49, back and forth. You just picked up 11 points because of how extreme that was. It was so terrible. Democrats are the party of high taxes, open borders, late-term abortion, crime, hoaxes, delusions. Whenever House Democrats are ready to abandon their extremism, the Republicans here tonight are ready to work with them to deliver a much better future for all of our citizens. We're willing to work together. I told Nancy Pelosi the other day, I was with her, it was a nice conversation. Unfortunately, every time we have a great conversation, she then goes out and does a news conference and she says I'm a terrible human being. I don't figure that, but I guess that's called politics. Every day, we're restoring America's strength at home, and we are restoring our nation's standing all over this world. 2 years ago, ISIS controlled more than 20,000 square miles of territory in Iraq and Syria. I was told that it would take at least 2 years from 1 month ago to get the caliphate at 100%. You saw that. My generals that I got rid of told me it would take 2 years to get 2%. I went to Iraq. I stayed in the White House for almost 4 months. The only time I left was to go to Iraq. I tell you, if you have to get cabin fever, getting cabin fever in the White House is still a good place. But I went to Iraq and I met the generals, and one general said, "Sir, we can do it in 1 week." I said, "Wait a minute." They said, 2 years. They said, "That's because we're hitting them at a much different level." And we did it, and we now have 100% of the ISIS. It's been completely obliterated. And that doesn't mean you don't have cells and these crazy people. I got to say it, because you saw it. You can never say we won, because if you say we won and then somebody blows up a store, some crazy maniac, but we just beat the hell out of them. And we're trying to now beat them at the internet, because there's nobody better at the internet than them. I don't know if you saw recently, I put some social media that they're losers, that they're dead, that if you join them, you will be killed just like they're killed. We got to beat them at their own game, folks. It's not a very nice game. And they don't surrender. When we had them, I was telling Kevin McCarthy, when we had them 4 or 5 days ago, they were cornered. They don't know what it is to be cornered, because they always had free reign. They don't have free reign with me. And we flew over with brand new F-18s, Super Hornets. And they're going 2,000 miles an hour over and over for 2 days. And I said, do these people ever, like, wave the flag? Do they ever surrender? And the general, Raisin Cane, his name. What's your first name? You know this. So my first name is Raisin. This guy's out of Central Casting. I'm telling you, there's nobody in Hollywood that can look like this guy, because he's much tougher. That I can tell you. I said, what's your name? Raisin. What's your last name? Cane. I said, you mean your name's Raisin Cane? Yes, sir. That's the guy that told me. I said, so my people tell me 2 years. What do you think? 1 week, sir. I said, General, come here, give me a kiss. I felt like Joe Biden. Sure. But I meant it. See, I meant it. Big difference. I meant it. So we knocked him out, and we now have knocked him out. And we have, but I always say, you have some crazy people around, nevertheless. Together, we're also fully rebuilding the American armed forces, and you're doing that. What you're doing is incredible. Because without that, the other things might not matter. It's a rough time in this world. I withdrew the United States from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, and Iran is a different country. When I first came here, Iran was going to take over the Middle East, and there was no stopping them. And I took out of that deal, I terminated that deal, and they have gone to hell. That's a different country. They have riots, their economies collapsed. It was a horrible, stupid deal. We gave them $150 billion, and they used it to fight us. We gave them $1.8 billion in cash, airplane loads of cash. And I recognized the capital of Israel, and we opened the American embassy in Jerusalem for $1 billion under budget. $1 billion under budget. We were going to spend $1 billion to build it. I got it done for $400,000. Think of that. So I saved $1 billion. I took a building that we already owned, on land that we already owned. Somebody said, what's the difference between that piece of land and the piece that we were going to spend a fortune to buy? I said, the difference is it's much better. It's a better location and it's a much bigger site. Other than that, they were very similar. And to support Israel's security, just last week, and this has been going on for 58 years, I recognized fully Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. 58 years They've been talking. They've had committees, they've had meetings, they've had 32 different meetings. And it's talk, and they never do it. So we did it. And I'll tell you what, I don't know about the United States. I think we're doing well, but I can run for the Prime Minister of Israel. That's what they tell me. I think I'm at 98% in Israel. You better be careful. I'll leave here and I'll go run in Israel. The United States has also taken decisive action against the brutal socialist dictatorship in Venezuela. That's a horrible situation. And America once again stands with the people of Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela in their righteous struggle for freedom, and we're helping them out. So we're gathered here tonight at a very pivotal moment in our nation's history. That's true. This is a very important moment. You know, we have forces going against this country from within that can destroy this country. If we lose this election, you know, when I go out to make a speech, I meet people. I don't get to see too many people, but I meet people backstage going on. And they'd say to me, "Thank you, sir, for saving our country." They're talking to all of us, by the way. "Thank you, sir." A man came up to me a week ago. We were in Michigan. We had a tremendous crowd in Michigan, right? Is that right? That's a good group. Great crowd. And this guy looked like he never cried in his life. He looked like a football player, big, strong guy. And he was pouring down tears as I'm getting up ready to speak. I'm walking by, and he was there. And he said, "Sir, thank you for saving our country." And I used to be surprised, because I've been hearing this for a year and a half. I used to be surprised. You know, it's a big statement. And they're oftentimes crying. And they're people that don't cry. These are not criers. These are people that are real stalwarts. They're not crying. Nothing wrong with crying, but they often are crying. And I've heard it so much. We have an election coming up that if something bad should happen with this election, we could lose the country. We really could, because these people are stone cold crazy. What they want to do to our country would be overwhelming. It would be horrible. So we have no choice. We have to win. We really have to win. Now, it could be they start moving in a different direction, but I don't think so. It looks like they're only moving one way. The majority of American people support our common sense agenda, and Americans do not want to risk their prosperity or our prosperity. They don't want to risk their children's future. They don't want to risk their wealth. They don't want to risk their 401ks, where they're up 50, 60, 70, 80%. I talk about it all the time. They feel like financial geniuses. They've never been there before. And we're going to explain to them that your 401k will disappear. You're not going to have anything. We have a lot of great things going. So the Democrat program of radical socialism and open borders, if we are good and if we are smart and if we do our job, it cannot work. It's not going to work because our people are doing too well. The choice has never been clearer. The Republican Party is the party for all Americans. We really are. We have changed this party so dramatically, folks. I say all of us, not just me. I've been important. You've been just as important. We're now the party of the American worker. Did you ever hear? When I started doing this, we were like the party of the rich person, and we were losing. There were not enough rich people. We're now the party of the American family, and we're the party of the American dream. It's true. You are. In South Carolina, when I was going against a lot of different people, there were 12 people left. And I'll never forget, somebody came down and said, "You have no idea what you've done." Thousands and tens of thousands of people are joining the Republican Party. This never happened. They've never seen it before. And this happened in New Hampshire. It happened all over. It happens in Florida. It's happening now in Florida. I mean, I don't like to talk about leads too early, but we have an incredible lead in the state of Florida. We have an incredible lead in the state of Ohio. We have a great lead in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina, in South Carolina. I mean, we have leads. Now, you always have to be very careful because you have, on occasion, seen leads disappear. But we're not going to let that happen because we have the far better ideas, the far better platform. And I know many of the people in this room, we have the far better and more talented people. You are the people I'm talking about. And we believe in the American Constitution, and we believe in the rule of law. We believe in the dignity of work and the sanctity of life. We believe that faith and family, not government and bureaucracy, are the true American way. We believe in religious liberty, the right to free speech, and the right to keep and bear arms. We believe that children should be taught to love our country, honor our history, and always respect our great American flag. And we believe in the words of our national motto, "In God we trust." We're not going to lose that. We're not going to lose that. People want to play with that. They're not playing with that one. They want to play with that. You know that. We're not playing with that one. In God we trust. We fight on behalf of hardworking citizens who pay their taxes, follow our laws, raise their children, protect our communities, and made this the greatest nation ever to exist on the face of the earth. And we're doing better now than we've done in decades and decades and decades. This land is our home. These American patriots have always been loyal to our country, and we will forever be loyal to them, forever. Every day for the next 19 months, we will keep on fighting, we will keep on working, and we will keep on winning, winning, winning for the American people and for yourselves. And for yourselves and your families. With your help, on November 3rd, 2020, Republicans are going to win the House, we are going to win the Senate, and we are going to again win the White House. Thank you. And together with the love, prayers, and devotion of everyone in this really warm and incredible room, and millions of patriots across our land, we are going to make America great again. We are going to make America greater than it's ever been before. And we are going to do it not just for you, not just for your friends. We are going to do it for all Americans. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.